Wow. Nintendo really dropped a bombshell on us with this Switch 2 reveal, didn't they? So much to dig into.
Yeah, they did. It's going to be interesting to break it all down for everyone. I think it's really key for people to know there's essentially three ways to play games on this thing.
Okay.
New games, obviously, specifically designed for Switch 2.
Right.
Your existing original Switch games are going to be compatible.
Gotcha.
And then some of those original Switch games will have enhanced versions specifically for the new hardware.
Okay, so like a Switch 2 edition or something.
Exactly.
All right, cool. And don't forget, everybody, June 5th is the date.
That's right, June 5th.
June 5th. So let's get into it, huh? Let's talk about the hardware first. The screen has gotten a pretty hefty upgrade, it looks like.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
So the Switch 2 has a 7.9-inch LCD screen.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, the original Switch had a 6.2-inch screen.
Yeah.
OLED bumped it up to 7 inches.
Right.
So this is a noticeable size increase.
For sure, especially for handheld play, which I know you do a lot of.
I do.
What about the resolution?
So when you're playing handheld, the resolution is going to be 1080p.
Nice.
And that's actually double the pixels of the original Switch's handheld resolution.
Wow, okay.
So much sharper, much more detailed when you're playing on the go.
Yeah, that's a big jump. And I saw something about refresh rate, too.
Yes. So the screen is capable of up to 120 frames per second, which is going to make things super smooth.
Okay.
But it depends on the game,
Of course, of course.
whether the game utilizes that.
Yeah.
But for games that do, incredibly smooth visuals, very responsive,
Yeah.
especially for those fast-paced games, which I know you're a fan of.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So it's going to be a great improvement.
For sure. So aside from the specs, what about the quality of the screen in general?
Well, the new LCD, it's much more vivid, it's got better color, and it supports HDR,
Okay.
high dynamic range.
So that means what exactly? For someone like me.
So essentially means the screen can display a wider range of colors.
Yeah.
More contrast between the brightest and darkest parts of the image. So richer, more vibrant.
Yeah.
You're going to be much more immersed in the visuals.
Gotcha. So if you're looking at like a sunset, you see really bright highlights, you see deep shadows all at the same time. It's going to be able to kind of recreate that.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay, cool. So bigger screen, sharper, smoother, more vibrant. Sounds like a really good upgrade.
Yeah.
Now, the console itself, design-wise, is it like a total redesign or is it kind of familiar?
It's pretty familiar, actually.
Okay.
So it's going to have that similar shape and size to the original Switch.
Okay.
So if you're used to holding that, it's going to feel very similar in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the thickness is even reported to be the same as the original Switch.
All right, so familiar form factor, good for comfort,
Mm-hmm.
but what are some of the key differences? I know everyone's been talking about these new Joy-Cons.
Yeah, the Joy-Con 2s.
Yeah.
So big change is how they connect.
Okay.
They're going to be using magnets now
Oh, interesting.
for a more secure connection.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of slot into these recessed areas instead of sliding down those rails.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully that addresses those connectivity issues that some people have had with the original Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I've had a few myself, so hopefully.
Yeah.
What else is new about them?
So the SL and SR buttons, the shoulder buttons on top,
Yeah.
those have been made larger,
Good.
much easier to press, especially when you're holding a single Joy-Con horizontally.
Oh, right, for like two-player stuff.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, those tiny buttons were a bit of a pain sometimes.
I know. They were.
What else?
The analog sticks, the left and right ones,
Yeah.
those are also getting a size increase.
Good.
It's a little more to grip, more precise control.
Especially for those more like simulation type games, strategy games, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a really unique one.
Huh?
You can actually use each Joy-Con as a mouse now.
What? A mouse. Okay. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, that's new.
How's that going to work?
Well, from what they've shown so far, it looks like you're going to be able to move the controller across a surface to control the cursor.
Okay.
But they've also got gyroscopes in the Joy-Cons, so you combine those two, you could have some really unique control schemes.
Interesting. So like imagine playing a shooter and you're aiming with the Joy-Con like it's a mouse. You could be a lot more accurate, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. And think about games that traditionally rely on mouse input, like strategy games.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how developers utilize this.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the console itself? Anything new there aside from the Joy-Cons?
Yeah, there's a built-in microphone now.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it's got noise-canceling technology,
Okay.
and that's specifically for this new integrated GameChat feature.
Oh, so you can finally talk to people directly through the console.
Exactly. No more mess around with headsets all the time, although you still can if you want to.
Right, right. So convenient for like, jumping into a multiplayer game with your buddies. That's awesome. What about the speakers? Are they any better?
Yeah, upgraded speakers, clearer and more natural audio, they say. And when you're using headphones, you get immersive three-dimensional sound.
Ooh, three-dimensional. Okay.
Yeah. So it creates a more spatial audio experience. You're really going to feel like you're in the game world.
That's especially cool for, like, those story-driven games where you really want to get lost in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And what about the kickstand? That was always a bit of a talking point with the original.
Oh, yeah, the kickstand's getting a major redesign.
Okay, tell me.
So it's now a large, sturdy, adjustable U-shaped stand. It goes almost the entire width of the back of the console.
So much more stable then.
Much more stable, more viewing angles.
Which I always wanted. I always said they needed a better kickstand for tabletop mode.
They definitely listened on this one.
All right, good, good. What about ports? Connectivity, what have we got?
2 USB-C ports.
Okay.
One on the bottom, like the original, and a new one on top.
All on top. Interesting.
Yeah. So that top one's going to be really useful for accessories like the camera in tabletop mode,
Oh, right.
or even just charging.
Makes sense. And now for the big question, storage space.
Yeah.
The original Switch kind of skimped on that one.
Yeah, well, this time they've upped their game big time.
Okay, how big are we talking?
256 gigabytes of internal storage.
Oh, wow. All right.
It's 8 times the original.
So no more, like, deleting games to make space?
Yeah, hopefully not.
And if you do need more space...
Micro SD express cards.
Okay, those are different, right.
They are. Much faster reading and writing speeds.
But that also means my old micro SD cards won't work.
Sadly not.
All right, good to know. So faster loading times, but new cards needed. Now the dock, anything new there?
Big news is 4K resolution output for compatible games when you're playing on your TV.
Oh, finally caught up.
It's got HDR support in TV mode as well.
Very nice.
So yeah, visuals are going to be much better on the big screen.
Good, good. Anything else about the dock?
Yeah, there's a built-in fan this time, probably for keeping things cool with that 4K output.
Makes sense.
Built-in Ethernet port too, like the OLED dock.
Yeah, right.
2 USB-C ports, 1 HDMI.
Okay, cool. And what about wireless connectivity on the console itself?
Wi-Fi 6 this time.
Okay, so faster downloads, smoother online play.
Exactly. It's also got Bluetooth, NFC for Amiibo.
Which I know you're a fan of.
I do like my Amiibo.
Now the big question, especially for me, battery life.
Yeah, big one for handheld players.
So what are we looking at here?
5220 mAh lithium-ion battery.
Okay.
Estimated battery life is about 2 to 6.5 hours,
Okay.
depending on what you're playing off of.
Sure, sure. That's kind of similar to the original Switch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But the battery itself is bigger this time.
Okay, so hopefully that means it holds up a little bit better in real-world use. What about charging time?
About 3 hours to fully charge.
Same as before, then.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so battery life is comparable. Now, what about the game cartridges? Still using those?
We are, but they're getting a new look. They're going to be red now.
All right, okay.
For Switch 2 games. And they've got faster reading speeds.
Of course. Got to keep up with the bigger game.
Exactly. And you can still buy digital games too, of course.
Of course. So for those of us who are going to upgrade from the original Switch, how do we transfer our stuff?
System transfer feature.
Okay.
Using your Nintendo account, transfer saved data, digital games, profiles, all that.
Easy peasy,
There's-
hopefully. All right, we've covered the hardware pretty thoroughly. Let's talk about some of these new features. GameChat, that's the big one, right?
It is, yeah. So that C button on the right Joy-Con, that's for game chat.
Oh.
And the new Pro controller has it too. Built-in microphone, noise canceling.
So it can hear you even if you're not right next to it.
Yeah. Supposed to be able to recognize your voice clearly from a distance.
So no more third-party apps, we can just talk through the Switch.
That's the idea.
Finally. What else?
You can chat while playing different games.
Oh, nice.
Adjust the size of your game screen during chat. There's even an optional camera.
A camera.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Sold separately.
Okay.
Connects via USB-C. And that's for on-screen video chat.
Oh, wow. Video chat while gaming.
Yep.
That's a whole new level.
Okay.
So what about parental controls?
Don't worry, they got you covered.
Okay, good.
So it's all managed through the Nintendo Switch Parental Controls app.
Right.
You can manage voice and video chat.
Good.
Control who your kids can talk to.
Very important.
And you will need a Nintendo Switch Online membership to use Game Chat after March 31st, 2026.
Okay.
But there's a free trial period at launch.
All right. So voice chat, video chat, parental controls, it's all there. Now, game share.
Yeah.
This one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is a cool one. So local multiplayer on multiple Switch 2 systems.
Okay.
Up to 3 others.
Okay.
And you only need 1 copy of the game.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So like game nights with friends.
Everyone doesn't have to buy the game.
Exactly.
And does it work online too?
Yeah, it supports online play as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use it with Game Chat.
Oh, very nice. So are there any limitations? Like, do all games work with it?
Not all games, no.
Hmm.
It's going to depend on the developers if
Right.
they want to enable it. Yeah. But Nintendo said that several games will support it,
Okay.
starting with a free update for Clubhouse games on the original Switch,
Gotcha.
and then select Switch 2 exclusives.
Awesome. All right, now let's talk about that Joy-Con mouse control again. What are some concrete ways they're thinking of using that?
So they've shown some demos where you combine the mouse control with the motion controls.
Okay.
For example, there's a golf mini game where you swing the Joy-Con like a club,
Right.
and then you use it as a mouse to aim,
Okay.
adjust your power, things like that.
Interesting. I can see that working for a lot of different types of games.
Yeah, especially anything that would traditionally use a mouse and keyboard.
Right, right. What about the new Pro controller? Anything new there besides the chat button?
So it does have the C button,
Right.
chat in,
Right.
but it also has two new buttons on the back, GL and GR, and you can map those to any other button.
Oh, so like custom button mapping.
Exactly.
Very nice. And any other like quality of life improvements?
It also has the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
Oh, they brought that back.
They did.
Good. A lot of people will be happy about that. Now that camera, we've talked about it for chat, but are there any other uses for it?
Yeah, they're going to be using it in some games.
Okay.
They specifically mentioned Super Mario Party Jamboree,
Okay.
so you can expect some mini games that use the camera.
That makes sense. All right. Now this next one is a bit more specific. Zelda Notes. What's that all about?
So that's for the Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. Right.
And it's accessed through the Nintendo Switch app on your phone.
Okay.
And basically, it's there to give you hints.
Okay.
Like if you're struggling to find a shrine.
Or a Korok seed.
Exactly. Or if you want to share your in-game creations from Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, right.
You can do that by generating QR codes.
So it's like a companion app?
Yeah, basically.
Pretty cool. And then the last thing, the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. What is that?
That's a paid digital game
Okay.
available at launch.
Okay.
And it's basically a virtual showcase of the new hardware.
Okay.
So you can experience the magnetic Joy-Cons, the mouse controls, all that.
So it's like a game that teaches you how to use the new console.
Yeah, kinda.
All right, interesting. Now let's get to the games. The Mario Kart World, that's the big launch title, right?
It is, yeah. Open world Mario Kart.
Whoa, hold on. Did you just say open world Mario Kart?
I did.
Okay, I'm listening.
So races are going to take place all over the world.
Okay.
Dynamic weather, day-night cycle.
That's crazy. I mean, you love open world games. You love Mario Kart.
This is like a dream come true.
I can only imagine.
You can actually drive off the track and explore.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, and the Grand Prix mode is back.
Okay.
But instead of just picking a track, you actually drive to the next race location in the open world.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's like one giant connected world.
Yep.
All right. And what about multiplayer?
24 players in each race.
24.
Yeah, biggest Mario Kart roster ever.
I can't even imagine 24 players on one track. That's going to be mayhem.
It's going to be wild,
Yeah.
especially in an open world setting.
What other game modes are there?
So there's this new mode called Knockout Tour,
Okay.
and you basically race nonstop from one part of the world to the next.
Okay.
There are checkpoints along the way,
Right.
and if you fall too far behind at a checkpoint, you're eliminated.
Oh, interesting.
So it's really about staying ahead of the pack. And then there's free roam mode.
Free roam in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
What do you do in that?
Just explore the world, find shortcuts, take scenic drives.
Just cruise around?
Yeah, and you can do it with friends in multiplayer.
That's amazing. I love that. Now, this is coming out as a bundle, right?
It is, yeah. Switch 2 and Mario Kart World bundle.
Nice.
Digital copy of the game.
And that's available until when?
Through the fall of 2025 or while supplies last.
Okay, cool. So now, what about those Switch 2 edition games? Those enhanced versions of existing games? Which ones are getting that treatment?
So we've got Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Okay.
That's getting mouse controls, audio recognition, HD rumble, camera gameplay.
Okay, that's a lot of new stuff. And are those upgrades free for people who already own the game?
It looks like there's going to be a paid upgrade path.
Okay,
You can buy an upgrade pack.
gotcha. What other games are getting enhanced?
Both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are getting Switch 2 editions.
Right.
Improved resolution, higher frame rate, HDR support.
Wow, so those games are going to look even more stunning.
Yeah, definitely. Plus the Zelda Notes feature.
Right, with the companion app.
Yep. We've also got Kirby and the Forgotten Land getting an upgrade.
Oh, awesome. How is that one getting enhanced?
Better graphics, smoother frame rate, and a brand new story episode called The Star-Crossed World.
Very cool. So new content as well.
Yep. And then Pokemon Legends ZA, which is coming out later this year, that's getting a Switch 2 edition as well, with better resolution and frame rate specifically in Lumio City.
Okay, very specific.
Yeah, just for that one city.
All right. And those will all be available as physical copies and digital.
Correct.
Good, good. Now let's talk about new games. Games specifically designed for the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that was a big one, right?
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And that one's interesting because it has two versions.
Oh, okay.
Standard version for the original Switch.
Okay.
And a dedicated Switch 2 edition that uses the mouse controls.
Oh, very cool. And what about visuals?
So docked mode, you can choose between 4K 60fps or 1080p 120fps, both with HDR.
Wow, that's a choice.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Handheld, you can choose 1080p 50fps or 720p 120fps, also with HDR.
So really prioritizing smoothness if you want it.
Exactly. So what's your preference? Higher resolution or smoother frame rate?
Tough choice. I think I lean towards smoothness for a game like Metroid.
I think I'm with you on that one.
What other new games are using the mouse controls?
Civilization 7. There's a Switch 2 edition that uses the mouse controls.
Makes sense for a strategy game.
Yeah, very intuitive.
Yeah.
And actually, this standard Switch version is getting an update to add mouse controls too.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah, very cool. Then there's a new exclusive called Dragon Drive.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one.
So 3-on-3 matches, and you use both Joy-Cons as mice.
Both?
Yeah, one in each hand.
That's wild. I can't even picture what that would be like.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. What other new exclusives are there?
So we got Donkey Kong Bonanza,
Okay.
3D platformer with destructible environments,
Nice.
coming out in July. Kirby Air Riders.
Oh, that's cool. Like the GameCube game?
Yep, new entry in that series.
Yeah.
Directed by Masahiro Sakurai, no less.
Wow, so that's a big deal. Okay, what else?
The Dust Bloods. That's a new action RPG from Software.
Okay, From Software, so you know it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah, very high expectations for that one. Coming out in 2026. And then for Zelda fans, you got Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment.
Okay, another Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, prequel to Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice. This winter, you said.
Yep, this winter.
All right, so lots of new exclusives to look forward to. Now, third-party games, it looks like Nintendo's really stepped it up this time.
Yeah, huge third-party support.
So what are some of the highlights?
A lot of big names here. Hades II, Split Fiction, EA Sports FC, Madden NFL.
Wow, okay. And those are all coming to Switch too?
Yep, all confirmed. And Hogwarts Legacy is coming too, with enhanced graphics and mouse controls.
Very cool. So what else?
Hitman, World of Assassination, the new James Bond game, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Borderlands 4,
Okay, keeping it going.
WWE 2K, NBA 2K, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition.
Now, Cyberpunk, is that a cloud version or?
No, it's confirmed to be native.
Good, good.
Mhm.
Native is always better.
Always better.
Yeah.
What else? Final Fantasy VII's remake Intergrade Elden Ring, Tarnished Edition, Street Fighter 6 Years 1 and 2 Fighters Edition, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 Remaster, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut.
All right, so lots and lots of third-party support. Clearly, they've addressed the power concerns from the original Switch. Now, let's talk about this GameCube library coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, the expansion pack.
So, which GameCube games are we getting?
At launch, we've got Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX.
Nice. F-Zero Online, that's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah, and F-Zero GX supports 4-player local and online multiplayer.
Oh, even better. So what about future editions?
They mentioned Pokemon XD, Super Mario Strikers, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon Coliseum, Mario Sunshine.
Really good lineup. Now, are they just emulating these games or?
They're going to have improved image quality and resolution.
Okay, very good. Now we hear there's a new controller coming out too.
Yeah, a wireless GameCube controller.
Nice, for that authentic feel.
Exactly.
Yep.
But it's got a C button for GameChat.
Oh, that's a nice touch. And that's exclusive to the expansion pack subscribers.
That's right.
All right. Now, backward compatibility. What about all our original Switch games?
Mostly compatible. Yeah, they've said there might be a few games with some issues.
Oh, okay.
They specifically mentioned Doom Eternal, Rocket League, NBA 2K25, Warframe.
All right. Not the biggest games, but still good to know.
Yeah, and the Lobo VR kit won't be supported.
Okay, that's fair enough. So most games should work.
Yep.
All right, so let's get to the nitty-gritty. Price. How much is this going to cost me?
$449 in the U.S.
Okay.
And there's the bundle with Mario Kart World for $499.99.
Right. So what about accessories?
The camera is $49.99.
Okay.
Pro controller is $59.99.
And the usual stuff like carrying cases, steering wheels, all that.
Yeah, all that will be available too.
All right. Pre-orders, when do those start?
April 8th in the UK and Europe, April 9th in the US.
And the release date, one more time?
June 5th.
June 5th. All right. So to sum it all up, this is a pretty big upgrade, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
More powerful hardware, bigger and better screen.
All the new features.
Game chat, game share,
Backward compatibility.
tons of new games.
Really strong lineup. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
For sure.
So listener, what are you most excited about? And what do you think this means for the future of portable and hybrid gaming?